but now I'm going to focus on the exponents and add them. It would be a 2 plus a 1, which is a 3. Now I want to go to this again. X squared multiplied by x will surely give you x to power 3. Okay? Now I go to there again. I take that term, multiply it with the last term, which is a constant inside the bracket. Negative multiplied by a negative, friends, is a positive. Now I multiply a 3 by 1, I get 3. You see now there, I've got x squared, and in this one, there's no variable. Now I want you to listen very carefully. When I am multiplying there, it's a 1 multiplied by a negative 3x squared. We know that any number multiplied by a 1, the product will be that number. That is why you see a 3x squared. Where does a positive comes from? It comes from a negative and a negative there. Surely, I hope that wherever you are seated now, you are happy and smiling, saying, this man is giving us free marks. Let's see how you score your marks here. It would be 1 for that term. It would be 1 for this term. It would be 1 for that term. And now, that would give you a nice 3 marks in your exam. Free marks. Okay? Let's move on to the next example, which is a bit different from this one. Again, I'm still dealing with products. Products, those are answers that you get when you multiply out. When you multiply out, you get a product. I want to repeat that again until it is engraved in your heads. Now, again, because it is an expression, whenever you are working with an expression, we will always say to you, simplify, nothing else. Now, because it is an expression, I'm expecting you to simplify the following expression. Now, look carefully. It is 2x multiplied by xy, all raised to the power 2. Now, my learners and friends and colleagues, be careful with this one. Now, this actually says to you, take this bracket there and do what? Multiply it by itself. How many times? You just multiply it by itself 2 times there. It would be xy multiplied by xy. Pardon my writing there. Now, after you have done this, remember you still multiply it with a 2x there. Now, when we multiply x and x, we get x squared. When I multiply y and y, I get y squared. Be careful now here. I am busy with this bracket right there. Now, as I'm saying, your answer would be x squared, y squared. Now, my handwriting there is as if there's a drunken spider that is running around my screen. But now, I hope you can see. Now, after I have done this, after I have simplified this part, now I can multiply that by a 2x. Look carefully now. Remember, it is x squared there. It would be x squared multiplied by 2x, which is 2x to power 3. You remember it was y squared there. Because I've got no y there, it would just be 2x to power 3 multiplied by y squared, which is there. I hope that everyone is happy with this one. How many marks are we going to get here, say? Your marks are going to be as follows. 1 mark is gonna be for simplifying this bracket, which is xy multiplied by xy. And another beautiful mark is gonna be for multiplying xy squared, sorry, not xy squared, x squared, y squared by 2x. That would be 2 marks. Surely wherever you are seated, you are saying this man is just donating marks. Mathematics is all about that. If you understand and if you practice your work, everything just becomes very easy. Now, I have done products. What did we do in products? We multiplied a monomial by a trinomial. It can also be multiplying a binomial by a binomial. It can also be multiplying a binomial by a trinomial. Be very, very careful in those instances. Okay? Let's move on now to quotients. What is a quotient now? A quotient is any number that we get when we are dividing. I repeat again, when I divide, my answer is known as a quotient. Now, surely here, what am I going to be doing? I am going to be dividing an algebraic expression with anything. It can be a number there. Now, in this case, you can see that my number is represented by the variable negative x. Now, I just want to take you through something that you have learned when you were doing your fractions in early grades and even in grade 8. Remember, when I have 1 divided by 2 plus a 1 divided by a 2. This, because the denominators are the same, I can just say it is as good as 1 plus a 1 divided by a 2. Folks, take a note of this. This is very, very important because it is going to help us here. Do you see that the 1 which is a numerator there is here? Do you see that the 1 which is a numerator here, it is there? But now, because the denominators are common, I just take that common denominator. What does that mean now here? You see, in mathematics, pre-knowledge is very, very important. It means I am dividing x to power 4 by a negative x. I am also dividing minus 2x to power 3 by a negative. I am also dividing plus 3x to power 2 by a negative x. As good as there. Here it means I am dividing 1 by 2. You see it there? And it also means I'm dividing this 1 again plus a, by a 2. Now the plus sign is right there. Now, let's go to this one. That means it would be x to power 4 divided by negative x. Now, x to power 4 divided by negative x is a positive there divided by a negative, which is a negative there. Now, x to power 4 divided by x. Remember laws of exponents, when we divide powers with the same base, we subtract the exponents. Now, that means in this case, it would be x to power 4 minus 1. I repeat again, x to power 4 minus that 1 there. That would be x to power 3. That is where that x to power 3 comes from. I hope that everyone is with me and everyone understands, because now I'm drifting back to the work that it is in your head, the work that you have done previously in term 1. Now, let's move on. In this one, remember, I'm still using the very same content. It means I'm taking minus 2x to power 3, I'm dividing it with minus x there. Now, that would be a negative divided by a negative, which is a positive. I'm sorry about that. It must be a positive there. Got it? Negative divided by a negative is a positive. Now, 2 divided by a 1, remember the numerical coefficient of x in this case is 1. 2 divided by a 1 is a 2. X cubed divided by x. Again, I'm dividing powers with the same base. I must subtract the exponents. And the exponent there, let me put it, it is 1. That would be x. I put my x there because both of them are having the base x. And it would be 3 minus 1, which is a 2. That is where the plus 2x squared comes from. I have divided this by that. Let's move on. Now, I'm using the same concept here. Remember what I mean by the concept, I mean this. It would be positive 3 divided by negative 1. I'm starting with the numerical coefficients of the variables. Positive 3 divided by a negative 1 is a negative 3. Now I've got x to power 2 divided by x to power 1. Remember, the powers are having the same base, therefore we must subtract the exponents. 2 minus 1 is a 1. Even if you don't write that 1 there, it is still 100% correct. Now, why did I write it? I actually wanted to emphasize the fact that I am tapping into your exponential laws. I hope that everyone is with me. Now say, how many marks are we getting here? It will be a beautiful, beautiful 3 marks for you. Folks, I hope that you are still with me, because it would be very, very painful to leave you far, far behind me. Please follow this and please practice. Your practice will make you perfect. Now, I want to talk about the difference between this expression and the one that we are going to do. In this expression, you can see in your numerator there, you have the mathematical operation, subtraction, and addition. You are dividing this trinomial with a monomial minus x. Now, look at the next example that we are going to do. Now, in my next example, do you see that in between the terms, there are no signs? That means we are multiplying. It is negative 21a to power 3 multiplied by b to power 4 multiplied by c to power 3 divided by, again, the product there of 7 multiplied by a squared multiplied by b squared multiplied by c to power 3. Now, in this one, we are just going to it's a straightforward division. What do I mean by that? Because I'm multiplying and dividing, I'll divide the same. Negative 21 divided by a 7 is a negative 3. A to power 3 divided by a squared. Again, powers with the same base. It would be 3 minus 2, which is a 1. I can see some of you smiling there saying, but we did this in exponents. Yes, that is mathematics for you. B to power 4 divided by b squared. That is, again, powers with the same base. It would be 4 minus a 2, which is a 2 there. Now, c to power 3 divided by c to power 3. Now, I want to show you something here because some of you are going to say, where did the c disappear to? Let's do this, okay? It is c to power 3 minus a 3 there. It's a minus there. Now, that would be 3 minus a 3, which is a 0. We know that anything that is raised to power 0, it would be 1. Now, c to power 3 divided by c to power 3 is actually a 1 there. Now, you multiply this by a 1, you would just get minus 3ab squared. And how many marks are we getting here, say? It would be a beautiful 2 marks. Okay, that brings us to our end of this beautiful session, which is algebraic expressions, where we were doing what? Where we looked at the mathematical operation, division, and multiplication. Thank you very much. Enjoy your next lesson.